Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times, a Prancing Pony podcast production. I'm the Man of the West, and it is time to wrap up week 97 with Silmarillion Saturday. These Saturdays are our chance to revisit the history and legends of the Elder Days, whether from the Silmarillion, unfinished tales, or more. Now, last series, we laid a foundation for Tuor's arrival in Gondolin by reading of Maeglin and by beginning of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin. And though we'll be getting Tuor through those gates and into the hidden city over just the next couple of Fridays, it turns out there's a lot more material in the Silmarillion to flesh out that whole story. So we'll take the rest of this series to finish up of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin, and that way we can get to the Nirnaeth Arnoediad in Series 14. Now, last time we read about just how badly Feanor's sons made out after all this. I mean, Maedhros was good, but the rest were scattered, and a lot of their people were dead. But we also read about Fingolfin's decision to go and seek single combat with Morgoth himself, banging on the door and calling him Craven. And that is where we'll pick up this week. Then Morgoth hurled aloft Grond, the hammer of the underworld, and swung it down like a bolt of thunder. But Fingolfin sprang aside, and Grond rent a mighty pit in the earth, whence smoke and fire darted. Many times Morgoth essayed to smite him, and each time Fingolfin leaped away as a lightning shoots from under a dark cloud, and he wounded Morgoth with 7 wounds. And 7 times Morgoth gave a cry of anguish, whereat the hosts of Angmar fell upon their faces in dismay, and the cries echoed in the Northlands. But at the last, the king grew weary, and Morgoth bore down his shield upon him. Thrice he was crushed to his knees, and thrice arose again, and bore up his broken shield and stricken helm. But the earth was all rent and pitted about him, and he stumbled and fell backward before the feet of Morgoth. And Morgoth set his left foot upon his neck, and the weight of it was like a fallen hill. Yet with his last and desperate stroke, Fingolfin hewed the foot with Ringil, and the blood gushed forth black and smoking, and filled the pits of Grond. Thus died Fingolfin, High King of the Noldor, most proud and valiant of the elven kings of old. The orcs made no boast of that duel at the gate. Neither do the elves sing of it, for their sorrow is too deep. Yet the tale of it is remembered still, for Thorondor, king of eagles, brought the tidings to Gondolin and to Hithlum afar off. And Morgoth took the body of the elven king and broke it, and would cast it to his wolves. But Thorondor came hasting from his eyrie among the peaks of the Chrysaegrim, and he stooped upon Morgoth and marred his face. The rushing of the wings of Thorondor was like the noise of the winds of Manwë, and he seized the body in his mighty talons, and soaring suddenly above the darts of the orcs, he bore the king away. And he laid him upon a mountain top that looked from the north upon the hidden valley of Gondolin. And Turgon, coming, built a high cairn over his father. No orc dared ever after to pass over the mount of Fingolfin or draw nigh his tomb, until the doom of Gondolin was come, and treachery was born among his kin. Morgoth went ever halt of 1 foot after that day, and the pain of his wounds could not be healed, and in his face was the scar that Thorondor made. Great was the lamentation in Hithlum when the fall of Fingolfin became known, and Fingon in sorrow took the lordship of the house of Fingolfin and the kingdom of the Noldor. But his young son Ereinion, who was after named Gil-galad, he sent to the havens. Not a lot to say here that hasn't been said. It is amazing to think that Fingolfin really was a match for the most powerful of all the Valar, wounding him 7 times, fighting him off three times with the broken shield. But he's still a flesh and blood creature, not a fallen angel wearing a raiment. He simply gets tired and slips. That's all it takes, 1 slip. The fact that the elves don't sing of this, even now, That's really something. I mean, they sing about a lot. There's a song about the hiding of Valinor. There's a song about the sun and moon. Even the kinslaying gets a little ditty. Heck, the elves sang a lament for Gandalf while Legolas was still wiping his tears. So for them to still not sing about this battle really speaks to the impact it had on them, losing their High King after the Dagor Bragollach had gone so poorly for all of them. They must have thought it was over. One other quick note here, and it's on Morgoth. The fact that Morgoth limped for the rest of his days and that the scar made by Thorondor never healed, I love this. Remember, Morgoth is an Ainu spirit and should be able to change or repair his raiment at any time, but he can't. He doesn't have the strength anymore. He has spent so much of his power marring the earth and filling his minions with his evil will that he doesn't have the ability anymore to heal his own body. And it's an advanced preview of what will happen eventually with Sauron and his ability to even take physical form at certain points. In Morgoth's Ring, the 10th volume of the History of Middle-earth, Tolkien writes, "Just as Sauron concentrated his power in the One Ring, Morgoth dispersed his power into the very matter of Arda. Thus, the whole of Middle-earth was Morgoth's ring." And that's why he can't just polish himself up and fix the limp. Folks, that does it for this week's Silmarillion Saturday. Thank you for joining me, and please come back next week as Morgoth chases down Barahir and his men. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn I can get an ad-free feed, bonus episodes, and become a part of my content council to help me decide what I'm going to talk about next series. Subscribe to the show in your podcast apps or on the YouTube channel, where the full back catalog of the PPP has now been uploaded for you to enjoy. And be sure you're following @PrancingPonyPod on social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.